So, for me, that's sort of a loaded question because when we started to fast a couple years ago, when we changed our lifestyle last year from eating meats to go into pescatarian, it wasn't that big of a difference for us to just let the fish and the seafood go and the processed meats and just doing a plant-based diet. But I can remember when I first started doing the fast, because we do the fast for 21 days, so roughly 3 weeks. But I can remember getting headaches, feeling sluggish, and I think overall the reason why was because I probably was not eating enough. Typically when you're fasting, if you're just eating, your fruits, your vegetables, beans, corn and stuff like that, you're gonna probably in most cases end up eating less because you're not really like diving into the food that you would normally love to eat, if that makes sense. So I think for me, and I think for a lot of people, they end up eating less and their body is maybe not getting enough. Is for me, it almost felt like I was going through like a withdrawal type of deal. But really, once I got past that first week, I was good. So if you can stick it out for the first week, you'll make it. It's just that first week, a lot of it is habit. You're used to waking up, eating certain things for breakfast or for lunch or for dinner, snacks, when you go to work, things like that. But, everything's about habit forming deals and just being disciplined. So once you get past a week, I'm telling you, you can make it, that month. If you can make it 1 month, you can make it 2 months, and then so on and so forth. And, before you know it, it has become a lifestyle.
And I would have to say I do agree with him. When we first did the fast, not the transition at this point, but when we first did the fast, 100%, going from eating the meat, the dairy, all that stuff, I think the first 3 days was my hardest. I would come home and I'd be exhausted. I was tired, just didn't have much energy. But when I tell you, day 4 came, and I had as much energy, I didn't even know what to do with myself. I felt so much better, and you do feel better, but the initial shock to that body, like you said, it is like going through a withdrawal process. The physical changes that I have seen, this is even from us eating on the pescatarian diet, because we were still eating ice cream, cakes, cookies, junk food, fish. We didn't eat any other meats, but we did have cheese. And so at this point, some of the changes that I still feel, which I felt before, is again the better energy level. The other thing that is really important, I work in healthcare, and when I talk to my clients, I work with geriatrics, which if you're not sure, it's older people or the elderly. I'll go to them and I'll say, hey, Mr. Smith, how are you doing today? A lot of times the first thing they tell me is, oh, my bowels haven't moved today. And I'm like, wow, I didn't ask about your bowels. I don't say that to them, but I'm thinking like, wow, so bowels are very important, which is why I come to this comment. So what I have learned is that I actually have about 2 bowel movements a day now. Even when I was eating a pescatarian diet, I was going maybe once a day. I was not having a good bowel movement. I'm having, good stools. They're coming out. They're not, diarrhea. They're not constipation. So it does definitely help if you're a person that have trouble with your bowels. It definitely helps with that. As far as for men, if you don't want to hear about the cycle, you can speed up to when you see my husband. As you can see, he don't want to hear about it. So I'm going to keep this rated G, but it does help your cycle. What I've noticed for me is that my cycle is not as heavy. It is not as, I don't want to say clotty, because they try to say when you see clots it's an issue, but I think most women understand what I'm talking about. It's thinner and it's red. It's not any kind of color. It's not dark. It's bright red. And even down to the odor. The odor is much nicer and pleasant. So, you know, and I think it's just the way the body is excreting all that toxins and impurities that we are putting in by eating meat and dairy products. So it even increases your cycles. I'm not a person that gets a lot of cramps, so I can't really speak on cramps.
Fellas, I'm back with you. And by the way, just for the record, I learned a lot more than what I cared to learn. So, things that I have noticed. A few years ago, maybe up until, I'll say 4 years ago at least, I would, every now and then I would wake up, it's like I would have like,
Acid reflux.
it was acid reflux. I was just
Indigestion.
trying to find a way to kind of explain it, but it was acid reflux. I didn't realize what it was though. And I'd wake up choking, like literally choking out of my sleep. And so one of the first things that I noticed is that. So I haven't had indigestion. That's what I was thinking about at first. But the acid reflux is just much more severe. And it can be harmful to the esophagus and other bodily parts. So not good at all. But I haven't had any issues with that at all. So that was huge for me because that meant no interruption in my sleep. The second thing I would say actually is getting more sleep. So I get more continuous sleep. So if you're one of those where you're kind of waking up throughout the night and your body isn't really fully resting, your diet is probably the reason, or it could be the reason why you're not getting that continuous sleep. And because of that, and that's going to lead into the third thing that I kind of noticed, is that when I would wake up in the morning, I would be more focused. I could, I didn't feel, this is going to sound a little weird, I felt like my brain was kind of clouded when I was eating a lot of the burgers and the fried chicken and all that stuff. But I would just contribute it to the detoxing of my body. But I now feel more focused, energetic, and just ready to go.
I agree. The clarity part is completely true. Even with the acid reflux, I experienced those too. It's just a total improvement with both of those.
So what challenges do I face? Not really a lot of challenges. I mean, it's more of a mentality. You know, it's just like people who are athletes, you know, they work out every day. When they go out of town or they go someplace, you know, to visit, they don't stop working out. They don't find a reason not to work out. So it's kind of the same thing. Once you make your mind up that you're going to eat right, it doesn't matter where you are. So I would say probably the only challenge is when you go to visit other people's places, understanding that your food is going to be limited from what you can eat. And even if they're making, you know, greens or vegetables, you got to be mindful of what they're cooking in that. You know, they're putting a ton of salt in it, or they're putting meat in it. You know, we've been to places where they've taken vegetables and put literally like everything in it except cheese. You know, so I mean that happens, and you got a decision to make. You know, you can't eat it. So I would say that's probably the only real challenge I could think of.
I think for me, the main challenge I have is I do probably about 95% of the cooking is the meal planning aspect. As you can see the videos and the pictures that we have posted on this video, there's a lot of different things. Of course, you do not have to get that involved. For me, I get bored easily with eating the same things day after day. So that's why I take the effort to take the cookbooks, look on Pinterest, look on Google, and find different recipes to eat. My other challenge is that my 4-year-old, we have not transitioned over because she's 4, and quite frankly, she doesn't eat enough of anything. She does eat vegetables and fruit, but we are still giving her fish, and at times we are giving her chicken. So at this point, we're just introducing her to the different foods that we eat. We put it on our plate. We're letting her try to get used to it. In fact, today for dinner, she didn't eat any meat. So, we'll see how that goes. But for now, we're just basically basing on the 2 of us and our oldest daughter. And she can eat pretty much whatever we eat.
Okay, so the diet is not difficult to stick with or maintain. Again, and I kind of went into it kind of previously, but it just boils down to the mentality and the mindset. But I'll tell you a quick story though, and this is where the discipline comes in at. So I love carrot cake, I love banana pudding, and a lot of other sweets. So I have, over the years, disciplined my mind, body, and soul to not just smash it whenever I would see it. So
yeah, I know where you're going with this.
So quick story. So last year.
Don't put them out there like that.
Yeah, I got to though.
Don't
I got
do
to
that.
because
No.
everybody has a nana or a grandma. So my grandmother, God bless her. So we went to go see her, and she's like, hey baby, I got this bag of chocolate. You want this? I'm like, nah, I'm good. Thanks, grandma. So then she pulls out like a honey bun or something. She's like, hey, you want this? I'm like, nah, I'm good. Thank you though. And then she pulls out, like 2 or 3 other things, and then it's like, I don't know what happened. How she. It's like she went, for like the wild card. She pulled the carrot cake out. She's like, I got this carrot cake right here. It was like a pound cake too. I don't even know where she bought it from. She's like, hey, I got this. I got weak just for a second, but you'll be happy to know. I said no, but it's kind of those situations, when I say you have to be disciplined and just kind of remember that your goals and what you're trying to achieve. Because in that split second, I could have easily broke, cake, killed, murdered, gone, but I did. So just kind of, bear that in mind and get your mind right. So thank you guys again for watching. I hope that these questions and answers have been helpful to you, and I hope that it can help you in your health and wellness journey. And stay tuned until next time.
Take care.